Good evening. Who ruins your international week if you're Hungarian? Like Troy Parrott on a Red Bull and fizzy lollipops bender for 10 minutes. We do. We're bringing you back to the real football. And after that, whatever that period was, although I can't complain, Ireland have done very well. And we only have to be Czechia and then North Macedonia to win the World Cup. So it's all good in the hood for Ireland. But we're joined by the full crew this week. The Baldles, as I like to call us. Brian, Cosy, and Suzy. How are we, gentlemen?
Good. How are you?
All good.
Doing good. We're tired. No special graphics tonight because we just got to get back into it. But here's what we'll talk about. A quick thing on the international week and this whole new, I didn't even know there's a newfangled tournament format thing. But apparently you got to play a semi-final and a final. And then on the final day, apparently you've got to do something else, which is stupid. The hardest thing in the world, getting over losing to Troy Parrott. We'll talk about, because I there's apparently a feeling that Jabazlai and Kirkes will be all crestfallen that they aren't going to the World Cup. But surely they might have sterner stuff than that. And then we talk about the game on, I hope, Saturday, isn't it? It's a Saturday game for us. Damn it, I'm working.
Yeah.
But we're playing Forest, and as Suzy's headline says, we'll start the season properly at the last week of November, nearly halfway through the season. So let's just briefly talk about the international week. England did very well, not having to do anything, essentially. But Ireland did it fantastically well, beating Portugal 2-0, and then Hungary away to put themselves into that playoff spot. But this new format where Ireland or any of those teams, Wales, Northern Ireland, Scotland, have to play a one game semi-final and then a final. And then apparently if you lose the semi-final, you have to play a friendly on the day against the other losing semi-finalist, instead of just, taking a week off. The bubble has to burst at some point with this. Let's monetize literally everything about football, doesn't it? And international football is not immune to it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we're at the stage where they play too many football matches anyway. We already know this. But, when Jurgen Klopp was saying it 10 years ago, he was just moaning, and it was just typical Jurgen, just having a moan. And then it works out that maybe, Chelsea going to play the Club World Cup, then having 7 centre-halves out due to muscle injuries. Could be a part of this. So yeah, the players are getting close anyway. I think of kind of calling this. I do want to say, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. I'm kind of into other teams going to the World Cup, teams that you don't really get to see. I quite like that as a story. That I think a team who would never normally qualify in the 4-match kind of groups, and the top 2 kind of go for you, they were just never going to do it. It's a bit like the Champions League, really. But I think it's kind of revolutionised the Champions League in a way, where it's actually probably a fairer system, the Champions League, because you're playing pot 4, pot 3, pot 2, pot 1. You play them all twice, and that's it. And that's figure it out. And I quite like that. And I quite like that teams like, I'm not going to say, disrespectfully, but teams like Ireland and Scotland, at least, who haven't really qualified for the tournament in a long time, to have their day, they deserve to go and have a nice summer. Especially, what I mean? Could you imagine the Irish in New York? Jesus Christ. Like, so, come on. Really?
Yeah, somebody else would be hosting the show for that week.
Oh, I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would. So, I'm just, as much as I don't want to sound like a hypocrite in that sense, but there is too many games. Again, that's a pointless friendly. That's no need. I'm not into the March international break. I am into it when there's a tournament on. You should have a one last look at the players before you get to pick. But when there's no tournament on, I'm not into it. Why? There's no point. But I think it's very difficult, gents. I find this really hard in terms of what's the right answer here, because I'm bang into seeing Ireland and Scotland, if Ireland can get their course, in Scotland in the World Cup. I am really into it. So I don't know. What can you do? It's the way football's going, and as you just said, the monetization, it's going to consistently happen all the time.
So, see, I mean, it could conceivably be maybe the first World Cup ever that we have the 4 home counties, or home countries as they used to be called, plus the Republic of Ireland in a World Cup.
Gotta be.
That would be like it'd be fantastic for people from our side of the pond, wouldn't it? Because we can all hate the English when they go far, and then we can all support the Scottish. Nobody cares about the Welsh, not even the Welsh. And then
We'll see.
I mean, because he's right though. The English football fans have that reputation for hooliganism, but Scotland, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Wales, that's a party time. We talked about advertising the game, I think, on Tuesday. That would be a great advertisement for the game over here, wouldn't it, to see that kind of fan base?
Yeah, especially out here with the Irish contingent. I think one of the best World Cups I've seen was the '94 World Cup, and coincidentally, England weren't in it. And it's just English fans and booze, they just don't get on, and hence Qatar, like all the shit that Qatar got prior to the World Cup. That's probably one of the best World Cups that we've had, and I would put it down to the fact that there was a lack of alcohol available in and around the games. English fans just notoriously. And I would say, also being from London, this mainly the London fans. This is something that they can't put on the Scousers or Liverpool fans. London fans are just fucking assholes. We've seen Chelsea fans abroad. We've seen Arsenal fans abroad. It's just a London thing. I think this week was the first time I actually watched an international game in 2 years, and that was a Scotland game. And that was a crazy game just to come in and watch it. But yeah, the World Cup, like Kazi said, it'll be great to see other clubs, our teams and play. And it's just this internationals and World Cups aren't the same for me anymore. I loved them in the '80s, and when the original Ronaldo was around, he was just but after that it was just. The game has just become, like I said, too commercialized, too monetized, too many games, and football's just not the same anymore in terms of that. It's just whoever's got the best athletes, and that's it.
Is that a thing? No, seriously, like that. I want to, because I think about this a lot. Is that just because we have like your dad's glasses on these days, where your dad used to tell you that all the time? I thought it was better back in the day, and we're all turning to our dads. But it was better than my day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's funny you say that. I mean, because this thing popped up on my YouTube today, and it was on Ronaldo, like R9, and
it was unbelievable.
Yeah, and they had Mohamed Salah on there. They had like Richarlison, and all these players talking about him, and I'm like, okay, I grew up, I don't know nothing about Pele, but Maradona was, my hero. But R9, he was probably the greatest player I've seen. He was just. Career cut too short from injuries, but he was just amazing. And you just don't see players like him anymore. That Brazilian team, the 2004 Brazilian team with Ronaldinho and, Rivaldo and, Ronaldo and Kaká, it's just not the same. And, Kazi is probably right to a point where you think, oh, your games were better. But then I think back, and I saw the Sadio Mane interview today as well, and it's like that was recent times but that front three that Mane was talking about, and what Rio Ferdinand was talking about, that's probably the best front three I've seen in the English game, barring probably Beardsley, Barnes, and Rush. And it was just, there are teams that will come back and kind of like circa the classic teams and make football fun and enjoyable again, but. Now you see teams like Arsenal, top of the league. All right, they deserve to be there because everyone else is shit. But it's not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable anymore. I couldn't even tell you. I think it was Spain won the last World Cup. I can't remember, and I don't even know who won the Euros. So it's it's the international games just don't do it for me no more.
So the original Ronaldo, he's the best player you've ever seen. Why isn't it Mark Kennedy? Come on, Susie. What's the story here? Why isn't it Mark Kennedy?
Mark Kennedy's he was caught offside all the time.
Yeah. Brian, now as the resident American and the World Cup being here next year, this the way this playoff system works, as I said, it may have the entirety of the British Isles over here. As an American, how would that make you feel, given that that's essentially the home ground of all the soccer players you watch every weekend?
I think it's going to bring a lot of people out right there. And a lot of you guys probably were here in 1994 about what it did to this country right there as far as launching the game. It put it back into a really big upward projectile, and I think this is going to probably do the same thing again. And it also coincides with the MLS has now switched their season over to like the rest of the world, instead of doing this spring to fall, back to a fall to spring season right there to coincide with it. And I think that's that they are hoping to ride the curtails of a successful World Cup. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting right there to watch right there. I mean, I'm not a big international fan. I mean, it's just never has really appealed to me as much. I mean, I'll look at matches and stuff like that, but I watch my club, and that's what I'm more concerned with. Now, I will come to watch international matches to see how players react and how they do right there as far as like being Liverpool players. But as far as like actually going and cheering for a country, I mean, I'm not a big person on the patriotic thing and stuff like that. I mean, I think a country is just a country in a lot of ways and all that. But but I hope that it'll be successful. I'm basically really, really honestly hoping that it will not turn into something that could probably haunt us.
Now we're only really here tonight to talk about the Forest game of the weekend, so we can kind of, there's no big graphics I have or anything like that. So let's talk about that granddad's glasses thing that Causey said. Is it just like the kind of the wisdom of old age that we look back on, the simplicity that we think of football back then? Like I remember, of course, because I'm probably the oldest or second oldest. Like I remember the World Cups I remember the '82 World Cup and the '86 World Cup in Mexico with the greatest goal scored from a hand ever in the history of football. But I've seen a few World Cups, but just the atmosphere around it when it was a tournament, it was a sporting tournament, even though Ireland didn't make an appearance till 1990, but it just seemed more pure. I mean, like now we're thinking of, we're talking about in football of halftime shows, like the Super Bowl. We have talking about the original, the OG Ronaldo, that whole thing about him being forced to play by Nike, wasn't it? Was that story? Yeah. Just because he was the money man of that final. Yeah. I mean, like, are we? I think we probably are seeing the game escape from the little person, so to speak. But we know, like, I'm sitting here talking about making a stupid joke about you won't see me if Ireland are based in New York, but who's going to be able to get a ticket if you're not in part of the corporate world? Really, it's not really a tournament for the people anymore, is it?
But growing up here, right there, we didn't really have a big exposure to the World Cup until probably about when it came to the United States in '94. I mean, honestly, we used to have like ABC used to go out there and have like a World of Sports that used to come on the weekends. And so you got bits and pieces of things right there as far as like matches go and all that. So we, like the World Cup was never, we'd see like one or two matches of it like that. We didn't go to like '94 when ESPN came out there and brought it, and you saw like a big mass array of seeing every single match. I mean, and that went on period right there. I remember sitting there watching the World Cup in Japan and Korea right there, waking up and watching it at like here it was like 3 o'clock in the morning right there and watching matches and stuff like that. So I mean, like with that was the '98 World Cup, I think it was right there, or was that France? But either way, right there, everything right there went through here was it was so different then right there because to watch matches like that, it was like an odd thing. You had like NFL announcers basically ad-libbing right there over top of like football matches. So it was strange and all that. And then when you first came there and got a big exposure in '94 and actually had English announcers that come through, I was like, oh, what is this? I mean, this is a totally different thing. I mean, and so, yeah, I mean, and we didn't really have that as like Telemundo and like channels like that were not as big then either. They were more toward the Southwest and stuff like that of the country like that. But in like the Northeast and like and most of it was like Santana and like pay-per-view matches right there to watch any type of match back then until we got that big jump. So I mean, and again, I think what you're saying right there, as far as a grandfather's lens right there, for us right there, our grandfather lens is like 1994. I mean, to be honest with you.
This is the thing that happens, though. I just think we're all turning into our fellas. Whether we like it or not, we're all turning into that. Like, your fellas to tell you that Graham Souness is the best player you'll ever see. Then Stephen Gerrard comes along and goes, no one's better than him. And he'll still argue to the day I die that Graham Souness is the best player of all time. So it's just is what it is. It's just, and we're all turning to that. We all have these tinted rose spectacles about World Cups of format because you were a younger man. You had no kind of responsibility in the world, and you felt like you could take on the world with just a, $20 in your pocket and a bit of fucking spirit, and you can take on the world. And that's what they're the memories it invokes. It doesn't really invoke about the football matches. Yes, it invokes about moments in the World Cup because we always remember a moment of the World Cup or a couple of moments in a World Cup. But you just remember the time and the moment that you were in life. So what I'm getting at is it's more the fact of we can sit there and say, well, it's not really the same and stuff like that. Probably is.
I think now there's more politics involved. I mean, look at America now, and given who's in charge and with the ICE stuff and everything else, like it's tainted it. The Qatar thing was tainted before the ball was even kicked. And BBC did their stupid thing, but it was a good World Cup. I mean, it's just before the politics wasn't really. I mean, we had a World Cup in Mexico, for God's sake. That was one of the biggest one that I remember. I was 8, and I knew nothing about Mexico. I went to La Bamba, and that was it. But it was such a great World Cup. It was, and it feels like that innocence is lost.
Has there been and that's fair in terms of the politics side. But when our kids, when we were that age, won't recognise that. We can, because again we're older and wiser. But a 13-year-old kid who's going to watch Lionel Messi for the last time and Ronaldo, he doesn't care. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh my god, so they don't care. So that there's also that part. We don't know, but it could have been things that happened in various times when we were growing up that we were kind of hid away from. There could have been a terrorist attack or something that we don't remember, and he just still went there. Because football's been run by money since the fucking 80s, 70s. Doesn't matter. It was always the same. So I just think that moment of like we are all like kind of getting old. And we always think it's better in our time. It just reminds me what your fella used to say. When kids will probably tell you now, I'm going, well, no one's better than Messi. And then older guys will go, he's not better than Maradona. Do you know what I mean? So it's just that kind of, you're saying, Sergi, that R9 is the best you've ever seen. R9, by the way, I think is the best I've ever seen. He's a freak of a striker. But there's an argument now. A kid could walk up to you and go, I think it's Erling Haaland. And you're going to have to justify, but the kid's got all the stats in the world and you've got to go, fuck me, he's got. Do you know what I mean? So it is what it is. I just think we just enjoy it. I just like people having a good time. And if Scotland go there and have a lovely time, and Ireland go there and have a lovely time, and they have a good win against an half-decent side, why can't people just enjoy themselves? Do you know what I mean? And we can sit there, gents, and we can talk about the politics, and which, by the way, is a very important subject, and we can talk about how many games these lads are playing, because it is too much football. But you don't tell Andy Robertson it's too much football in the summer when he leads his country out into a world. Do you know what I mean? So I just think sometimes, you know what I mean? The dreams have been made here, especially for Scotland. Hopefully Ireland can get there, and dreams will be made again. And
I think between Scotland, the Irish nations, and the African nations, they kind of brought the romanticism back into the World Cup, because it was so dominated by Europe and obviously Brazil, and everyone loved watching Brazil play. They're an anomaly, but just having Scotland and Ireland back is just it gives you that feel good factor. And obviously having the African teams doing better, getting better and better every World Cup. It's the
most one I'm looking forward to, mate, is Mbappe. I've seen him play in 2 World Cups. He won it, and he scored a hat-trick in a final and lost. Like that. So you get into the levels there. Do you want me to talk about like a player on like a big stage, like Pele? I think R9 plays in 4 finals. He gets to 4. He doesn't play in 94, but he's on the bench. 98. Plays in the final, of course, loses 0-2. He goes 3 finals, in 12 years. That's a joke. Mbappe has a chance to equal that record, which I find, by the way, Mbappe's like 26 and could equal that record if it's fucking frightening. So I'm just excited for those type of stories as well. Do you know what I mean? By the way, it broke my heart when Miroslav Klose broke R9's record. It broke my heart more than life itself. Because I think he broke it in like the 7-1 Brazil game. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. 6th goal, like the worst goal. Stop it, Closer. But there we are.
Suzie, do you want to explain that for anybody who doesn't remember what happened with that?
Yeah, he was injured. He wasn't going to play, and then Nike, Nike just forced him to play.
Yeah, seizure before the game, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
the seizure in the warm-up, didn't he?
Panicking.
Came out of the seizure in the changing
And
room.
then
I don't
might
believe
be-
it was the Nike thing. I just think he said he wanted to play.
yeah, it's probably more that.
But then he was
let's
like-
blame Nike for things.
He was a shadow, and that's why the 02 World Cup is so satisfying, because he gets his moment in the final. I think he scores 2 that final. So,
So let me do this because we want to get Brian in as well. Before we move on to the next thing, from the time you were born, all the World Cups you've seen, you're going to pick your favourite one. Mine, obviously, because I'm going to go first. Obviously, World Cup 1990, Ireland get to the quarterfinals without winning a single game in normal time. But you know, if you can catch it on YouTube, the Romania game, the penalty shootout, and like what it meant to the country, like, you know, it was such a bad time for Ireland economically, so to have something to be proud about, and to also understand that the diaspora of Ireland, because everybody on the Ireland team spoke with an English accent or a Scottish accent, but it was one of the best teams I'd ever. It informed everything I'd ever took into coaching later on. But 1990, it was just a fantastic World Cup. I had that little Italian block mascot thing that used to go across the screen, and then though you got to see all the. I think it was just before they put Football Italia on Channel 4 as well, so we got to see the stadium beforehand. So that's mine. Brian, your favorite World Cup in your lifetime that you've seen?
I'm going to say it's a toss-up between 2010 and 2014. 2014, right there, was seeing Brazil get demolished by Germany in that was freaking crazy right there. But also 2010, that was when France got demolished right there in that same year right there. I always seen underdogs come up there and actually do something on there. I mean, Spain won 1-0 in South Africa. So I mean, it was those are probably my two right there at the pick.
Cozzy.
I'm not having 2010, but that's the Vuvuzela tournament, isn't it? I can't be doing it. No, it's 02 for me. Yeah, 2002 World Cup. 10 years of age. It was on the back of Liverpool doing the treble, and then you've rolled into that kind of the year after, at least rolled into that summer of like when I was 10 years of age, and I remember my mum going into school when Brazil got the final, went, he's not going to come in tomorrow because Brazil won in the final, and the teacher was like, what's she talking about? Because I had the haircut. I did have the haircut. I was obsessed with R9. I've actually got it's not in the store, I can't remember how to find it because I've just moved house, but I've actually got the 95 Barcelona away kit, the blue one that they had with R9 on the back. Yeah, I got given it to me, so I've got to frame it. But I was obsessed with them. So the 02, yeah, I think it's the best ever. By the way, I think it's the best ever team assembled, or if not, it's Roque Jr., Lucio, Ed Mielson played centre half. They played at the back. Carlos, Cafu, and then it was Juninho, Gilberto Silva, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Rivaldo. It's not bad, is it?
Not as good as having it's not as good as having Kevin Sheedy at left back.
Oh, Macka.
Suzie, what's yours?
It's got to be a toss-up between 86 and 90. I think 90, just, again, it was just the Nessun Dorma and Lothar Matthäus. What a freaking player, man. But 86, just for personal reasons, like, you know, growing up in where I grew up, and and it's just like races, like, you know, hearing every day, go back to your own country bullshit, and seeing Maradona just put England out. I went back to next school the next day, and I was Maradona on that pitch. I did not give a fuck. I was Argentinian for the rest of that school year, and so 86 World Cup, just purely because of Maradona.
And then just kind of for balance's sake, because we'll all remember Maradona's handball, but the other goal he scored in that game was probably one of the best goals ever scored.
It's a joke. He absolutely said he was a butcher and fucking Reed to the shop. He absolutely ruins them, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It was a good one. But now let's keep a little bit on World Cup and we'll move it more towards Liverpool. You know, I won't stop talking about how great Troy Parrott of AZ Alkmaar is, scoring the hat-trick. And, of course, second assisted, just for Cozzy and his hatred of stats, second assisted by Caoimhín Kelleher, doing the basic thing that you need to do when you need to go, letter the ball into the box and hope for a knockdown. And that's what happened.
It's a quality ball.
It is a great ball.
I always think about this when teams are attacking like that, gents, right, and the keeper goes long, you've got to put it in a place where the keeper can't come and punch it.
Yeah.
The keeper couldn't move. because he's like, it's too far away for me to come. There's too many bodies. It's a great ball. It's an unbelievable header by Scales. It's a joke.
Yeah. I mean, like if the keeper had to come, Scales had the empty net. Like he's
exactly,
that's all, right?
But that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's about the quality of the ball. The ball's a joke. Really
but you know, the big kind of thing on some of the Twitter and Liverpool Reddits and all that kind of stuff is, how is this going to affect Kerkez and Szoboszlai? Szoboszlai particularly looked devastated by it. Now, here's the question I want to ask. We've talked about mentality. We've talked about, and Cozzy especially, about the lack of fight that we've seen in this team. And I know I've done a ton of courses and certifications in sports psychology, but nowhere near the level that our own Suzy is going to be doing or currently doing about psychology. But are we coddling these players a little bit too much and kind of almost patronizing them by the fact that they can't get over a loss?
I mean, it's a great question. Listen, it's a devastating loss for Szoboszlai and Kerkez. It's an awful way to go out.
I think more for Szoboszlai and Kerkez. I think Kerkez
it's a great way to go out if you're Ireland.
I thought Szoboszlai was great all game. I thought, apart from the last 10, I thought the last 10 as Ed went a little bit.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's understandable. Like those type of moments happen. I thought Kerkez was dreadful for the last 10. I thought that Festi, the winger, had him on absolute cake for the last 5 minutes. And I thought, this is actually getting embarrassing here for the kid.
He's actually a wing back, I think.
Yeah, it was just...
Festi,
I don't even know where Festi plays. I don't even know who he was. He just kind of showed up and put an Ireland
shirt. Championship, I think.
Do you know what I mean? So, anyway, they've had a devastating loss. I'm not arguing that, of course. But that's where the senior players have to kind of step up, and other players in the team have to kind of step up and talk them, help them through this. Liverpool have important football matches. You can't afford to lose Szoboszlai and Kerkez. It's just not possible because they need to sit out, and it doesn't work like that. That's not how football works. Do you know what I mean? You got to get back on your horse kind of deal. And as much as it's been, you know, it is devastating and it's awful for them. Hey lads, it happens. It's football, and you know it's not going to be the last devastating loss you ever have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way Liverpool are playing, I'm sure you'll have one next week. Fuck me. So I just feel like, again, we need to. I agree with you a little bit in terms of the mollycoddling part, but there's a part if Szoboszlai is just absolutely spent mentally, but he's going to be a brave man to walk into the manager's office, you know, on Thursday or Friday and go, I don't fancy it this weekend, when Liverpool are getting bounced every week. I think that's a fucking brave man to walk into any manager's office. Do you know what I mean? When Liverpool are getting beat every week. So, yeah, I don't know, mate, but I would expect still, I would expect Szoboszlai to start. I would definitely be starting Robertson now, but that's just me.
Brian, what's your take on that? I mean, you know, as an ex-military man, we all know the kind of the break them down to build them back up kind of cliche about that. But surely experienced players at this point in their careers at this level, maybe Kerkez looks a little bit immature sometimes, but Szoboszlai, some days he looks like he could be the leader we need, and other days he looks like a shrinking violet. Is there a bit of perspective that needs to be put, you know, into practice here? If you're in any military, you're putting your life on the line every day of your career to protect your country, philosophically at least. You know, if you're a doctor or a nurse, you're going in for 10, 12-hour shifts trying to keep people alive. And these are football players who just happened to get knocked out of a tournament. I mean, is there a bit of perspective needed here about this whole thing?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I agree with there. I guess the one thing I'm selfish about, and now I know that Szoboszlai won't have a summer off, which means he'll be completely healthy come next season. Same thing with Kerkez, and that's a time for them to actually go and actually work and meld together a little bit as far as a team wise. So I'll be selfish about that. But yeah, I mean, I think people right there. Athletes are athletes. I mean, you know, and I think it's a whole perspective on there. Yes, it does. It's crushing for him, but like kind of like what Tamushin said right there was that they're both young. They still have like many years ahead of their match, ahead of them right there to go qualify for the World Cup and to achieve honors and stuff like that. You just have to go put in perspective. It also goes back to the same thing. I'll be selfish again. We pay them. So I mean, they're being paid by Liverpool Football Club right there. So I mean, again, it goes back to professionalism right there. And at the end of the day, right there, you have to go out there and actually go there and make a performance. I mean, and so I mean, I think it's something that Arnie Slot's probably going to have to basically go through and say, hey, you know, I understand how you feel, and I understand this really sucks, but you know, I was a Dutch player, and we went for years without qualifying for the World Cup. We went through the whole phase right there and all that. You just have to go out there and pull yourself together and go out there and do something right there and work your way through it.
Susie, from what you have studied and are going to study on the psychological front, is this? I mean, am I being a bit too harsh in the sense that I think that they should be well tuned into what Liverpool needs now by the time the whistle blows on Saturday, or is it sometimes, especially like a country like Hungary maybe doesn't have a ton of golden generations. They used to, but maybe not so much, and maybe the players may think, oh, this might have been our chance. Is there any sort of justification for them bringing that disappointment into the game against Forest this weekend?
I think there's justification. We look at Hungary, and again, because I'm just a nerd, and I saw the Liverpool. I saw the Szoboszlai and Kerkez interview the other day, and I think Kerkez is Hungarian just on his grandfather's side, and even Szoboszlai made a reference to that, like it wouldn't affect him as much. But Szoboszlai is full Hungarian, captain of his national team, and you look at things like that, and again you look at AFCON players when Egypt lost to Senegal, and it means so much to them. They have the pressure of the whole nation on their shoulders. So I can see why it will affect him. Just seeing Szoboszlai this season as a player, I think he'll bounce back. I think he knows he's at a great club with great supporters that will obviously be behind him. On the flip side, we saw Andy Robertson and how much the win meant for him, and it wasn't just him. Like again, these players we forget what happened last summer, and I think that puts everything into perspective. Whether you go out of a World Cup or whatever, you can use it as a tool to help motivate you, or you can use it as a tool as as not an excuse, but for want of a better word, but as something that just weighs on you, and and we see it could affect performances. Whether Salah's affected by that or whether the other players affected by that, we just don't know. But it's just two sides of it, and you can see Andy Robertson's buoyed up, and he could probably go play like 3 games a week now, just purely on energy himself. And Kerkez has been a bit of a don't know where his head's at, but it's like that throughout the whole season, at club football and international football. But I think Szoboszlai will bounce back. I think he's a leader for a reason. He's a leader for Hungary for a reason. He's been our best player this season. And I think he'll use that as hopefully to kickstart his season for us and G up everyone else.
So one question obviously is, are they devastated because they're out of the World Cup, or are they devastated because they lost to a Troy Parrott hat-trick? But the main question is, and I'll put this one to Cozzy, because you've said this here and on the Discord channel, if we get to Saturday and we look at these two players and they look like they're carrying this little, we're not going to the World Cup chip on their shoulder, in your mind, will that justify to you what you've kind of suspected, maybe, that this Liverpool team, is a little bit mentally weak this season?
They are mentally weak anyway, even if they beat Forest in the BPSV, because good teams win away from home. Liverpool have lost 4 on the bounce. It's okay feeling protected by Anfield and the crowd up with you, and the crowd gives you that extra lift. You've got to go away from home and do the dirty work and the hard work. That's how you win away footy matches. That's how you win league titles. That's how you win these trophies. I've had everyone knows what my doubts about Szoboszlai. He has been our best player this season. He's been tremendous. But he's at that age now where I just want to see him take a grip of the whole team and be a fucking leader. And it's easy saying that, of course, but I just think he has all the attributes to be a leader. His work rate, his power, his acceleration, everything about him just feels like you're the captain of your country. And then I see you go away from home to City and absolutely swallow it. And I just don't really, and everyone goes, oh, we play well. No one play well. All 11 of them play crap. I've had enough of this. Justifying when we go and get beat 3-0 and one player plays well. Stop. They're all crap. Right? So let's just stop that nonsense. I just want to see, and listen, this could motivate him, by the way. This could, like, go fucking hell, you know what I mean? And I get that. I don't want to kind of be a stick in the mud. I just want to see him. He's at that age now. Good age, leading your country. Go and lead our midfield. Go and fucking take no prisoners. Go and grab players by the scruff of the neck on the pitch and go, what are you playing at today? Do you know what I mean? Go and show me a bit of fight and a bit of hunger and a bit of desire. It's okay. You can go, okay, well, I played well today. Yeah, did you drag anyone else with you? When everyone else is in the shit? Like when McAllister bailed you out the last season when you were fucking shit for 3 months before Christmas. Do you know what I mean? Like when Gravenberch bailed you out a little bit. How about then? Do you know what I mean? When those leaders did, like McAllister did when he a World Cup winner, and he was dragging us over the line and things like that.
And that's what good players do. Like Jake Milner. Milner did the same. He would have shitty games, but he'll G up everyone else and he would drag everyone up.
Isn't that part of why we love Steven Gerrard so much? Is that he dragged people along? Like he had to drag Paul Konchesky along with him.
Henderson and Milner as well.
You don't have to be, by the way, you don't have to be the best player on the pitch, the most technically gifted. I look at Szoboszlai and think, you are playing for Liverpool in a very important role in midfield. Why are you not going to your teammates? Not today. Not today. Why is Van Dijk, and this is a conversation I have with Van Dijk, not looking at Konate and go, no goals today, fella. No goal. Get your head out your arse. No goals today. Why isn't he gripping him on the pitch and going, are you all right? Are you all right? Like, are you sure? Do you know what I mean? I'm sure he is talking to him, but I just don't see any fight or desire when things are going bad in games. Do you know what I mean? That's all, gents. And I just look at Szoboszlai. I look at his attributes, I look at the size of the lad and go, fucking lead us, man. Lead us, drag us over the line. He did for 6 weeks last year in February. When we went to Villa away, Everton away, City away, he was unbelievable for 6 weeks. And I remember going, oh, there's something there now. I can see what people are saying to me because I couldn't see it. Now I can see it. Do that. He hasn't done it. I mean, you know what I mean? That's all, gents. I feel like when it's going bad, though, gents, and Liverpool have lost 7 and 10, and you're trying to tell me players have had a good they're playing well, though. They've lost 7 and 10. Like, what are we talking about? And the games that they've won have been against sides at all. Do you know what I mean? I'm just a bit, I don't know, Webber.
but you know, it's disappointing right there to have a team full of international captains right there, and you know the same thing goes about what you're saying right there. Why are you not coming there and pulling these people out of the scruff of the neck right there? When I see Van Dijk basically clap and and just like put his head down, different things like that. Hey, you know what? You're an international captain for the Netherlands, but two, you're also the captain for Liverpool. I mean, you go back with that Andy Robertson, captain for Scotland. Szoboszlai, captain for Hungary. You expect more. You expect more. Yeah, I mean, Endo right there was even on the bench right there. So things. These are captains right there. You expect more. You expect that leadership to actually go up right there, and say, hey, guess what? Like you said right there, go like Van Dijk should go turn around and say, hey, guy, we're not doing this shit today. You need to go there, get your head straight. Then that's it. I mean, and you expect this out of these guys right there. And on top of that right there, this is a team that won the Premiership last year. Why is this all of a sudden this big collapse right there of players right there, where you should be at a level right there. And I just don't see that. And I agree with what Kazi said. I think there's some serious mental weakness right now that's going on with this side.
Let me just put this comment up from Jim because I think it's a good one.
He hasn't told.
Well, here's my question.
Possession
really position, pardon me, doesn't really come into it. Does it? A leader's a leader regardless of where they're playing. It helps that they're in midfield, but you don't have to be a central midfielder to drag a team along.
Like something what Kazi said like last week, we were missing them players that going into a referee's face and what the fuck are you doing? Get control of this game. We don't want to win. We don't want to win the Fair Players Cup. We don't want that shit. We don't want that title. We want to be narky. We're missing that narky player. We're missing that player that will get into the referee's face. We'll put one in. We'll leave a mark on the player, and it's the dark arts.
Isn't that Robertson for us though?
No, we're the easiest team. It should be all 11 lads. It should be
it should be. But top player for us right now is Robertson.
Here's the case in point. We're the easiest team in the world to play against. You can't wait to play against Liverpool. Do you know why? Brentford away is the perfect example. Within the fucking first minute, the cheapest throw-in of all time by Mamardashvili. The cheapest throw-in of... Like, you've watched footy, lads. This is just like... Okay, you're unlucky against Van Dijk on the weekend, City. Unlucky, right? Should be a goal. Van Dijk, all our players, 11, should be walking off going, you fucking best fix this, get down there, have a look at yourself, fix this. But you're not doing it to change that decision. You're doing it for the next one.
Yeah.
The next one. And go, you've had a nightmare there. You best go and check that at our time. Have a little look at that iPad. You'll go, should have counted that. Honestly, when you come out, you fix that. That's what happens. Here's
the thing, just not to interrupt you, Fab, but that's something we learn at Sunday League football, isn't it? It's not this decision; it's the next one you want to influence.
You're not trying to change the original decision; it's impossible. But you should get the next one, and the next one, and you go to him. You go. So next time, by the way, when that referees Liverpool, the next time what happens is Van Dijk walks in before the game and go, "Remember what happened last time, fella? Remember that? You always won. You always won. Like do you know what I mean? So any chance." I just feel like we're the easiest team in the world to play against. We're so good football teams are not easy to play against. Just not. We have all the hallmarks of a bad football team. Like we can have great individual players, which we've got. We've got unbelievable individual players, but the team collectively is a bad football team. So we can. By the way, but this is the positive spin on all this. This is the mad part, and I'm going to try and bring it back to that. We play Forest at home, PSV at home, and West Ham away. We could be sitting here next Sunday and go, Liverpool won 5 and 6. And then the City games are another me. And then we can go, we're in the corner. Do you know what I mean? So we could sit, but you've got to beat West Ham because you've got to go away and win. Do you know what I mean? To sit there. So anyway, what I'm getting at is, so we could have it in 12 days from now, we could all sit here and go, Liverpool won 5 and 6. Corner's turned. Let's go. Do you know what I mean? But right now we feel down in the dumps because we feel like all the hard work that's been done against Real Madrid and Villa is being overridden by City. All the hard work that you built up and all that, like kind of, okay, lads, let's kick. Arsenal are coming back home from international break with no Gabriel and Calafiori's injured.
Yeah.
You should be sitting there going, let's go. Okay, you've got Spurs at the weekend. Spurs can't win a lick at home, but Spurs are unbelievable away. And Spurs are going to the Emirates. That's your derby. We know what derby games are like, gents. Jesus Christ, we know what derby. So, I just want to get that, I want Liverpool to be angry again, Ben. Lads, I want us to be angry on the pitch. You're losing footy matches and there's no anger. There's no fight. There's no one. I'd rather Curtis Jones come on, do someone fucking knee high on a tackle and get sent off. Do you know what I mean? And go, fucking right, there you go. I always remember the Gerrard one against United when he come on for a minute, just whack down there. Okay, you can laugh what you like, but if he gets away with that, we all go, fucking go ahead, Stevie, get stuck in. So it's all the same stuff. So I just I mean, I don't know.
The thing is that, Brian, we complained about it constantly, and it's a complete trope with the way Manchester United under Ferguson did that with the referees. But we know now, like looking back, those referees hated refereeing Man United games, so they were almost bullied into being gentle on Man United, aren't they?
Absolutely. But because they came through, I consider to see this little image right there that back in the day, when early ages of internet, the we all hate Man United days like that, when those websites, and all you saw was a whole group of Roy Keane and all of them just crowding around the officials and stuff like that, and cartoon images and all that. But the thing is, they did that right there because they actually manipulated the game. They came through, they changed the game in their favor, and it's like what Kazi says right there. We don't do that. If a decision goes against us, we do. We walk away from it. And we walk away from it with our heads down. We don't go, hey, what are you doing? What the fuck? We don't say anything like that. I just watching this walk around, and just take it. Take your notes. And exactly right there. But that's not how you do right there. You're not showing that you're hungry, that you want that match. And I think that's the problem right there that Kazi has, all of us have right there with it, is that it's you're not showing that you have the drive right there to keep this momentum going. You go and you do a Real Madrid match and you go there and you turn around and you have a stinker against City. But until you go pick yourself up right there and just keep on going right there, it's going to be consistent right there. You're just going to be a stop-start season until they change their attitude and change how they want to perceive this match.
It's funny, Matt. I want to go on that though, right? I don't count that on money, right? But I think it's important. There's a part of this, gentlemen, certain moments in games, and this is because it's what I'm getting at in my head to our American fans. When Michael Jordan, when they're down 20, goes, "Give me the ball." When do our players go, "Give me the ball now? I'm fixing this." And that's a leader. When Sabos give me the ball now. Do you know what I mean? Give me the ball. I'm going to do this, bang, bang, and I'm going to be unbelievable for 20 minutes. By the way, when we're 2-0 down. When we're 2-0 down in the game, is Szoboszlai the best player on the pitch? Because that's what I want out my midfielders. When Liverpool lose a football match, I want the opposition keeper to be man of the match. Liverpool goes and lose to Forest 1-0. I want fucking Sells in goal to be man of the match. And they go, what a performance. Everyone's talking about that. And Liverpool can just hold their hands up. That doesn't happen.
Hey, anyway. people hated Kobe Bryant, but Kobe Bryant came there just basically, you know what? He came to the match and said, you know what? I'm just going to take this shit on my own right there, and I'm just going to go out there and do it.
There's a stat back in the late 90s, early 2000s, where a referee never give a pen at Old Trafford for 7 years. Think about that just for a second. 7 seasons, he didn't get no.
Well, that's what the referees hated Jurgen Klopp, because he got in the faces. Yeah. He did the players, and that's what we're missing.
This is the point I was going to ask Suzy, though. We've sometimes said in the 2 years or whatever that we've been here in the Thursday Night podcast that the team reflects the manager to an extent. Jurgen Klopp was always given the referees and the fourth official and the assistant referee stick on the sideline, whereas Slot's very much more, okay, I can live with that. Do you think that passes down to the players where they're like, well, the boss isn't getting upset about it, so maybe it's not that important? Because, players are stupid, as I say all the time on the Discord channel. And as Neil Warnock once said in a great little interview, players will blame everybody else for the mistakes they made before they blame themselves. So a manager who's not fighting for them with the referees on the sideline, well, maybe we don't have to do it. Maybe do you think that's down?
I think players just become an extension of the managers. And you see with the Arsenal team, Arteta is probably the most hated manager in that league. And so their players, it's a dark arts, it's the shithousery. It's the same as Atletico Madrid. Simeone, he's on that pitch. There's 11 Simeone's on that pitch.
He's literally on the pitch sometimes.
Yeah, literally. and the same as Guardiola, and that's what we have. And, I think obviously winning the league last season and Slot it did it in a way that no one expected. And I don't know whether he can change. And so so if he can't change, then someone needs to change on that pitch. That's why, we miss some British players. We miss players like Henderson. We miss players like Milner. We have Robertson, and he'll do it, but that's not enough. We need another homegrown player like a Curtis Jones, where, you give it a talk, you're the Scouser on the team, step up, be that man, be that leader, do it on the pitch, be the dirty player on that pitch.
It doesn't matter where you're from, right? I always think about this, and I get the Jones argument, by the way. Jones has to stay fit. Yeah. Like, you can be the greatest player in the world, but you've got to be fit. I'm not asked if you can't get fit. I love you, fella, but you've got to get fit. I just want to see players taking ownership for performances, their own performances. And I want to see the leaders. Brian just said that we've got about 7 fucking international captains in our team. And I want to see you gripping other players and go, not today. It doesn't happen today. This is not it. It changes all today, gents. Okay, you can sit there and you can cry that you've had hard lines in certain games, and I'll go along with you for a while, saying I feel sorry for you, and goals can turn, and you get in at 1-1 at City, you never know, and all that. Fine. But it still comes down to it. The game's still played over 90, and hard lines happens in nearly every football match. You don't get every single decision in every football match. So you've still got to go out there and show the bare minimum, which is fight, desire, hunger, anger. Show it on the pitch. And then, by the way, these other fans, I need to see a performance. I don't. I need to see a win. I need to see you win games, and then I'll worry about performances whenever. Do you know what I mean? I don't care. I thought, to be honest, even last season when you won the league, I thought you only played well about 12, 15 games for 90 minutes at least. I thought, do you know what I mean? For 90 minutes, I thought you only played well about 12 to 15 times. So I just need you to go out there, lads, and fucking win a footy match, but just show me some darn heart, man. Show me some fucking anger. Show me that you care. Do you care? Literally, do you care? And do when you have these great comeback moments in the last 15 years of Liverpool, this team doesn't look like they got a comeback in them, do they?
No.
Let's be honest. They don't look like they got a comeback in them. I remember being even under Roy Hodgson. I remember being 1-0 down at the back of Anfield at Napoli, and Gerrard comes off and scores an hat-trick. We haven't got that on us at the moment, and that's the worst part. You've even Liverpool have built on these great epic comebacks. Know that never say die. Fuck, we were saying die in the first 20 at the moment. Do you know what I mean? And it has to change this weekend. It just has to.
Which is a nice segue into this weekend. Alluded, Steve says he thinks we beat Forest handily, lads. Now, as far as I know, we have no injuries, correct? We've got pretty much everybody that should
We'll
be
find out
fit.
because we don't know where. I don't know where Macka's played. Do you guys know? I have no idea.
I think Allison's back, I think.
Meant to be back.
And he is actually meant to be back.
Hopefully tonight, injured. That'll be a big push.
Say what you mean, Cozzy. Say what you mean. But how do we see the game going? It's Forest. It's who's Forest's manager now? I've forgotten.
Sean Dyche, baby.
Oh, it's Sean Dyche. So I mean, as much as we
baby.
might say we should win this handily, he is an awkward customer. He can play the kind of game that we've had a problem dealing with this season, couldn't he?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, he's awkward. But I've had enough though. Sorry, I'm going off on one. It still counts as Forest. We need to stop creating narrative around football teams. Stop building a narrative about they could hit you or they've got a touch. Everyone's got a good player. Everyone's good. Like whatever. Like stop. Oh, Sean Dyche, no, just go out there. You're at home, beat them. That's it. No more.
Do you not think though, for us specifically, because Slot made that thing about look, they're not playing football against us. If they were playing football, we'd have won that game. That really puts us under the caution a little bit, doesn't it? Because now everybody thinks, oh, let's just kick the ball in the air, we'll be fine.
But like he did at the end of City, when he came out and he was kind of surprised the way City played. If he walks out after the end of the 90 against Forest and goes, I was quite surprised by Sean Dyche played, because if they think they're going to show up like a prime Brazil 1970, then they're not. You're going to play exactly one way and one way only. So get your head right. You should. Every single player has played against the Sean Dyche side in this team. Yeah. You know what you're getting. This is not going to be a surprise. But there's no more narratives that need to be created. Like, yes, you're unlucky. You're unlucky. Arsenal play Forest at home when it's Ange Postecoglou. Arsenal play West Ham at home when it's Graham Potter's West Ham. You're unlucky with the scheduling, and I can swallow that with you. But I'm sorry, gents, the goodwill's gone. You've lost 7-10. I don't care if the fucking Monsters are showing up. You beat them, and that's how it is. So Liverpool have to have that like mentality. Don't care who it is this weekend. You're getting it. When Real Madrid showed up, didn't matter who Liverpool played that day. Liverpool would have whacked them like they whacked Real Madrid. It's the most one-sided 1-0 ever. That needs to be the argument now, gents. And I don't care what he shows up. I don't care what type of system or tactics he does. We all know it. You go out there and beat them. That's it.
Brian, what's your thoughts on the game for the weekend? How do you see it going? Do you think... I saw something about rumours of a slight tactical tweak from Slot, but do you think we'll see anything different, or can we literally predict what's going to happen?
No. Absolutely not. I mean, have you seen anything really change that much? I mean, he basically does the same formation that he does every time. We saw one change, huh?
Who are you doing on the left?
I'm going Verts on the left again, right there. I don't, or Ikitiki, one of the two. I don't have any faith in Gapka right now. I really don't.
You're the manager. Who are you having? Who would you pick right now? Who are you picking if you're the manager?
I'm picking Ikitiki on the left.
Oof, Mac, who are you having?
I would go, if you do the 4-3-3, Ekitike, I think. If Isak is fit to go number 9.
Can Isak do 90, says he?
I don't think Isak can do 90, but I'd have Ikitike, Isak, Salah with Verts, wind up.
So,
I'll drop. No, I'll play Sabaz. I'll drop Macka.
So you're doing Gravenberg, Szoboszlai, Verts, Ekitike, Isak, Salah.
Would you have Verts in the 10? Because he hasn't really impressed as the 10, has he? Like, out in the wings is when he's done really well.
I think he has to be in a free roll. I think he has to be in somewhat of a free roll so that he can actually go and do what he does. Because I think if you have him structured in a 10, he doesn't actually produce the way we do. But of course, we still have it. Like I was saying on Monday night with him, we still have not figured out how the side works with Ikiteke, Isak, and Verts all on the same side, because they haven't been in the same side at one time. So if you, that's a puzzle that you're going to have to figure out. Because I think that these are your high priced players that you bought this summer right there, and also throw Kirkes in there too. You need to go there and figure out how these pieces all fit together right there to go forward. Because I think that, and even the point right there, if Macka is done this whole thing where he's traveled from South America and back, and it's a late match, I put Slabozai right next to Gravenberg on there and have make sure and put Gravenberg so he stays back and this says, hey, guess what? I know you talked to your dad about scoring goals. Not today, guy. You need to go there and stay back.
I was against what you just said there. He says even though I thought about it, I think I quite like that. I think Liverpool, if they program 75% of the ball, I want Wirtz having most of that ball and not Szoboszlai in that role. So I'd rather have Wirtz in that role. So, yeah.
Let me ask you all three of you this. Kind of in the sense that the number 10 should be a free role anyway, and Wirtz he has played a very structured, or at least Slot has had him do that. Do we not remember under Benitez that there was a whole debate about where Steven Gerrard is most effective, and then he played out on that right side with Torres and had a blistering season because he had a bit of structure and a lot of freedom from that.
And like that 10 role in 09, yeah.
Do you think Wirtz is that kind of player? You can't give him too much structure, but you can't let him have a free role because he gets maybe a little bit overwhelmed, or he tries to do everything. That's what Gerrard ended up trying to do, is play everybody's position.
With the midfield, go ahead.
You spent 100 million on him. You know what you were getting. You know what you need to. The reason why he was so successful by Leverkusen, as I keep telling people in the summer, you want to listen. He played 3-5-2. That's the reason why, because you can give him a free role in a 3-5-2. Yeah. You can give him one of the midfielders and go, you don't worry about this, and the wings are covered basically. You've signed loads of players who are playing 3-5-2. That's on the manager. You pick these lads. So as much as you're saying, Mac, and I agree with you in terms of structure, they need a free role and all that. I just think against Forest at home, you're going to have 75% of the ball. Who do you want to have 70%?
He should be the player that gets the most.
Yeah. I'd rather have Wirtz picking the ball from 40 yards out and trying to make a cute little pass in to break them down. Then I'd rather have Szoboszlai trying to bundle his way through. That's all. So I was actually quite against it when I thought about it. That was as he just said. I wouldn't mind doing that, depending how long you can get out of Thingy, out of Isak. But what I hate in games sometimes when you make one sub and change 3 players. I hate that. I just think sometimes. So, for example, if you're committing to what you've just said in terms of Becker, TK, Isak, and Salah, you know Isak can't do 90, so you've got to get Isak off on 70, let's say. That means TK's got to come in. You've got to put a left winger there. You've got to do this, and I hate all that. And then all the confusion happens, and players don't know where they're playing for 10 minutes in games. So it's a balance here.
Let me ask you all three again. Are we mollycoddling Isak a bit too much now? He's had enough time to work himself up to a 90 minutes.
He's played for Sweden, hasn't he? He did play for Sweden in a couple of games. I think he only played minutes. I don't think he played a lot, but I know he played. So, listen.
I mean, it's worrying at this point in November if he can't. I mean, we can talk about he had a late pre-season, but he's not coming back from an ACL or anything like that.
No, he's had his hamstring injuries, and I agree, it's frustrating, and he's had a setback, and I get all that, but there's also a part where...
Can we get Nunes back? No, I can. Only kidding.
Also part that makes it, again, this is going back to the club and the whole manager and the backroom staff. You chose to make Chiesa not an option. You made that decision. You made that decision last year. You've made it this season. So now you've actually only got 4 forwards who you trust, and he's actually one of the 4. Because Rio you don't trust, and Chiesa you don't trust. So there your 4. You made that decision. So play him. So I'm probably along those lines with you in terms of I'll be mollycoddling him a bit maybe, but Liverpool, no, he has to pick what he wants for PSV. I say this all the time when you pick teams: pick the PSV side, then pick your
backwards.
Side. So, for example, do you want Isak doing 90 against PSV? The answer is yes or no.
Yeah.
You know
I mean, yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And then you work backwards on injured players, especially. So, for example, for this next 3 block of games, I would be doing Robertson, Kerkers, Robertson.
No.
I'd be making that decision. I'd go to Robertson. We're going to fly you high now for an hour because the Scotland game and how you're feeling. Kerkers can come in and do Kerkers, you're doing the hour against maybe even 90 against PSV. Robertson, you're doing West Ham away when it could be a bit of a dog against Jared Bourne. Do you know what I mean? It could be a bit of a dog. So I just kind of, piecing it together.
Now, I'd said pre-going on air that... it's a long week for Macka in actual work, but I do not have a fragile groin. Now, here's what I want to just in terms of the context of this so-called slight tactical tweak, because it's a thing we've talked about before, Cozzy. You're dead right. We brought players that played in 3-5-2s and 3-4-3s, and we're insisting on forcing them into a 4-3-3. Is it possible that Slot looked at it and went, maybe you should do that? Maybe you should play those players in the system that we bought them for?
No.
Nope.
Nope. I think there's two reasons. Number one, it would show me that he's panicked and he's pressed the panic button a little bit instead of working on what Liverpool are really good at, which is the system, just basically correcting. When I say doesn't mean stick to 4-3-3, I just mean tactical tweaks in that system. But number two, we don't have enough centre-halves. You need 5-6 centre-halves to play. That's the be-all and end-all. You need that whole system.
See, I disagree with that in the sense that you can play one fullback as one of the three centre-backs, which will be Robertson in my like if we accept what you were correct about, that Kerkez and Frimpong were wing backs.
Yes.
We don't have to have that Discord argument again.
That's fair.
And then you put Van Dijk in the middle, Konate or Gomez on the right, and then Robertson there. It preserves Robertson because he doesn't have to fly up and down the wing anymore, and he can act like a left back when needed.
Right.
I'm just thinking of the logic of the players we have. I mean, because you're saying that there 5 minutes ago, I'm sitting there like, he's right. So, why the hell did we buy players for 3-5-2? We're trying to force it with the 4-3-3. The man's an idiot. Put us in charge now, today. We'll do it.
I said this in the summer, but the argument is, though, Macka, that's a fair point what you're saying, doing the Robertson centre-half diddle. What if Kirk gets injured for 3 months? If Kirk gets injured, then Robertson goes back out there, then you're back to Joe Gomez.
So I was like...
players, and it showed me that the manager's really, really panicked, and I don't want him to do such a thing. I would want him to get the best out of the players in a formation that's suitable to the players that are there. I know what you're saying about 3-5-2, but I'm talking about Ekatike and Isak, and I just want to see them both on the same pitch.
Yeah.
And listen, Liverpool might do what we just said there, Ekatike, Isak and Salah, and Vert in the 10, Liverpool could go out, be Forest 4-0, and you go, you see when they're all fit, it all works, and it all pieces together, and Slot's a genius, and we're going to win the league. So, because that's what football fans are, that's what we all do. So, I just think, I think the manager's way home here in these next 3 games, just get Ekatike, Isak, and Vert on the pitch at the same time, as much as you can do.
Susie, what's your thinking on the game before I get to Brian there? Like, who would you play? Like, knowing everything we know right now.
I like that. I like what he just said there.
My front four, yeah. I mean, the defense unfortunately picks itself.
Unfortunately, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. So he doesn't have the balls to drop Konate. I want to see Alisson back. I think having Konate and Mamadashvili in the back is just too fragile. And we need leaders in that defense. That's where Alisson comes in. Selling Kelleher was one of the biggest mistakes we made, but it is what it is. But yeah, I know Alisson back. Hopefully, Konate gets his head out of his ass. These rumors of Gehi are starting to heat up again. Yeah, it's. But yeah, I mean that's the team I picked on the midfield and forward that I already mentioned, and then yeah, unfortunately the defense picks itself.
Brian, tell us what you want to say there, and would you go Gomez or Konate?
I mean, it's a toss-up to me. I mean, if I could keep Gomez healthy, I'd go Gomez all day. But the problem is that I have no guarantees with Gomez. He's got a level head. If you were talking about back three, I have Gomez as a back three in a heartbeat. I think that he went there, but I think that the problem goes back to this. It has to be communication again. I think there's a communication breakdown in that back between Van Dijk and Konate, because I see them both going high at times, and I don't see somebody sitting back. I think there needs to be some kind of a sense of, hey, Van Dijk coming there and putting a stamp on or bashing Konate on the head and say, guess what, you're going to do what I say to do, and not just go free will. My thing right there is within these matches, you have to figure out what you're going to do with Mo, because right now, I think that Mo right now and what he is the way he is playing with having to go all the way drop back to the half line and then go back, it's not going there and playing to his strengths. So I think you need to come there and figure out what you're going to do as far as keeping Mo more high up the pitch to where he works at his best. So if that means right there that you have to swap out this midfield a little bit to go into this double pivot where you go back to, which I've been saying forever, I miss Fabinho, because I think if you had a number 6 right there in that spot, which we should have focused on back anyway, I think that you would have came there and had been able to have an inverted triangle in there, having a 10 and an 8 next to each other and having a 6 in the back behind there. I think that would have came there and would still give Mo his game. And I think that's one of the things we're lacking right now, is that you're dealing with an aging Mo who doesn't have the ability to come there and go from back all the way back to in the back behind the center line and go and try to defend and put him in a certain role where he wants to stay as a winger as he is. And so I think we have to figure that out. I don't think that Slot's going to do that, but I mean, those are things, because I think that Slot is Dutch, and I think that he's going to stick to his game plan. And I still see this 4-2-3-1 kind of scene that he actually plays with, and I imagine that Gapko will probably be on the left and Mo will be on the right, and either Ikitike or will probably be on the front, or Isak, and then the back line, like Sir Z said, it makes his own.
So before we wrap it up, then, gentlemen, give me a score prediction. Brian, go first.
3-1. I think we're gonna win it.
Kazi.
3-0 Liverpool.
Sir Z.
He's on mute. It's the best thing he's ever said.
Yeah, that's the best thing you've ever said. You got there before me, because you got there before me.
I'll go for 3-1.
I'm going to go for 2-0. A nice slot special to get us back on track. So with that said, make sure you're watching the game, and because I can't, so do it for me. Do it for Macka. Watch the game for Macka while he's at work. And we will hopefully have, maybe that be the reason why we've been, because I'm not watching it. We'll hopefully have a good result. I do believe there's a coffee show tomorrow, so we will make sure you're tuned into that. And if you want to know when it's on and all that kind of stuff, then you got to do this. You got to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X formerly known as Twitter, Mastodon, Blue Sky, and Uri Geller's special psychic kinetic workbook, part 3, whichever one you want to do. So we will see everybody next week. Enjoy the weekend. Thanks to Brian, Suzy, and to Kazi, who disappeared very quickly, for joining us tonight. Have a good one. Enjoy the game. And for anybody who's wondering, the bass player from the Stone Roses died today. They may have been Mancunian, but they were a fantastic band. Not as good as the last, but fantastic nonetheless. And they did have a motto for themselves, which I think perfectly sums up Liverpool fans worldwide and American Scouser particularly. It's not where you're from, it's where you're at. Peace out, people. Here comes the funky music.